Good morning. Happy Saturday. So, we learned a ton of stuff. We saw a lot of amazing speakers, and we'll see more today and more tomorrow. But at the end of the night, we had this guy come talk to us named John Dorenbos. Have you ever heard of him? I'd never heard of him. John Dorenbos played 14 seasons in the NFL. He was the long snapper for the Philadelphia Eagles for 12 seasons, won a Super Bowl ring, made it to a couple of Pro Bowls, and has the longest consecutive playing streak for the Eagles, like 162 games. So this guy is good in football in high school, but doesn't get recruited, goes to a junior college that has the longest record of losing, actually lied in his application tape. He put some of his own highlights in, but then put in highlights of other players and got a full ride to college. And then shockingly, he went to the tryout camp for the pros and nobody was looking at him. He didn't get any scholarships out of high school at all, but they figure out he had just started long snapping. He'd only done it for a couple of years in college, never did it in high school. And they figured out that he was this great long snapper, and he signed a deal initially with another team. I can't remember who it was. I think it was the Rams. He gets fired. He goes to another team. He gets fired by that team. He gets brought back in, fired by that team again, and then finally goes to the Eagles and has this great career. The amazing thing about the guy is he was living an upper middle class family life. He was 12 years old, had two older siblings. His dad was a software engineer at, I think, Microsoft. They lived just north of Seattle. And then one day his father murders his mother, is prosecuted and sent to prison. And he ends up in foster care with his siblings, and eventually ends up being raised by his aunt and his grandparents. In order to deal with that, he turns to magic, and he actually ended up on America's Got Talent and almost won America's Got Talent as a magician, and he is still a magician. What was amazing was the guy telling his story about going through this process in his life and what it meant to him in terms of how he's approached playing football, being a husband, now being a father. He's an extraordinary man, and he's written a book. His magic was a way for him to deal with what had happened between his parents and losing his parents the way he did. And his conclusion was that life was magic. And then as he went into the NFL and he started realizing his dreams of being an NFL player and also his financial dreams, he decided money was freedom. And so his belief is life is magic, money is freedom, live your magic and you'll have your freedom. In other words, you've got to see the good in life. You've got to see the great things that life is. You've got to see life for the magic that it is in order to create the freedom and abundance that you want. And he goes, that belief is what got me through dealing with the issues with my family, dealing with the issues that, he had all of these struggles in order to be successful. He's an extraordinary guy, and I'm gonna grab his book and read it. He just wrote a book. I think the book is called Life is Magic. I'm not sure. But it just shows you that, whatever you think you're going through, there's always somebody that's going through something that's significantly worse. And, there was no indication as to, he still has no idea why his dad did what his did. His dad is out of prison. He reunited with his father once and met with him and forgave him, but is not ever going to ask why he did what he did. And, what does it matter? But there was no indication that this was going to happen. His dad had never had a violent past. There's still no understanding as to what happened on that particular day. But, whatever it is that we're dealing with, remember, we can't control the events. We can only control our response. His response to that event, and he had a lot of good help. He mentioned all the people along the way. He had a great therapist. He had a great football coach who taught him a lot of great lessons, especially in college, about getting yourself back up after you've been knocked down. He was raised by a great set of foster parents who clearly loved him and did their best for him. But he also made his own choices as to what his response was going to be to those events. And his response was to decide that even though things can go wrong, life is still magic, and that's how you have to approach it. It was an amazing story. It's incredible to see people that have gone through such adversity, because at the end of the day, the people that rise above things like that are ultimately grateful for that experience in a certain way, because it makes them who they are. And it gives them an appreciation of what they have. He's now married. He has an amazing wife. He's got children. And of course, his approach to his children is incredibly, genuine, and they're unbelievably important because of the experience that he had. His kids are never going to be without him, because he lost both of his parents that night, when that event happened. So I love these opportunities to meet people like this, because it just shows you how much adversity we can get through, and how, if we decide, we can take that experience and make it something that we turn into a positive for others, and in a way, a positive for ourselves, or at least that we learn to see what good can come out of a particular situation. For him, would he have made it into the NFL if it wasn't for that event happening? Maybe yes, maybe no. Would he be the dad that he's going to be if it wasn't for that happening? No. He'll be the first to tell you that he wouldn't. He wouldn't be the same person, and he's going to appreciate that opportunity 1,000 times more because he lost his dad. We don't decide events, but we decide our response. And whatever it is that you're going through, there's somebody that's going through something 1,000 times worse, and is going to rise above it. And it's great to get to talk to people or listen to people who have done these types of things, because the inspiration is incredible. We're capable of amazing things. Life is magic. Money is freedom. Live your magic, and you'll get your freedom. Never heard that. The guy was great. Look him up. Look up his book. It was very impressive. Have a great day, everybody. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.